I'm honored to be your representative, and I want to be your servant. I thank you for putting your trust in me, and I won't let you down.
Sharon Hightower, representative of District 1, we thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule. I know you were always hopping, going someplace all the time, so thank you for coming out and meeting us in this beautiful place, which is Gateway Gardens in the heart of your district.
Thank you very much, Donnie. I'm glad to be here, excited to sit down and talk with you about all the wonderful things that happen in District 1. Since being elected, I have been on the move constantly, which is a good thing. I've met a lot of great people, had a lot of great conversation, been to some areas of the district didn't know existed, and that has been fun. If I could go and meet people all day and just talk all day long, never have to really sit down and have a meeting, I'd enjoy that.
Yeah. I think that residents often don't understand in Greensboro, being a city council member, it doesn't pay like a full-time job, but you certainly figure out ways to fill up your schedule between your personal life and your personal work and then what you're doing for the city.
Yeah, personal life. Not sure where that's at now. It's probably like under the bottom of my feet. And definitely I don't do it for the pay. By the time you calculate the amount of hours and days and that I'm out on the weekends even, I would say the pay is probably about 25 cents an hour.
It's far less than minimum wage, isn't it?
It's much less. But I do it because I really do enjoy serving the people. I did it long before I ever became elected to office. I was president of my neighborhood association and on different boards throughout the city, particularly those that affected District 1. So I've been doing this for quite a while. I enjoy it tremendously.
Well, let's kind of start there, Sharon, and talk a little bit about what led you to this point in your life. Did you ever envision a day when public leadership was going to be part of who you are, or when did this whole desire to want to serve kind of start for you?
Well, I think the desire for me to serve started way back in high school. From that point, I've been on SGAs all throughout my educational career. In high school, I was on the Mayor's Youth Council, worked on a campaign, and then even doing, higher education. I was part of things on the university campus, and it just kind of became one of those things that I just seemed to fit in to do. And sometimes a lot of stuff just fell in my lap. People said, well, sometimes my mouth gets me in trouble, Donnie, I'll tell you the truth. I will make a comment or make a statement, and somebody will say, well, do you want to do it? And I'm like, well, okay, sure. And of course, I love to work alongside people. I've never really considered myself maybe a leader as much as I am a team player. But that role just seems to come natural to me in a lot of things that I do. And you do that at home too, even in your personal life. You take care of home, take care of a family, you gotta make decisions that affect everyday life. And people don't believe it, but that makes you a leader as well, even for those who don't get into leadership positions. That to me qualifies you just as well. If you can decide how to juggle bills and juggle school and juggle your child's, fun activities and all of those things, and still at the end of the night, lay your head down and feel kind of, cool about everything, I think you've done a great job.
So sometimes it's all about just prioritization.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, you know, it kind of hit me one day. I was like, well, you know, when people ask me, you know, to be on this committee or be a part of this committee, and I thought, well, I wouldn't mind serving maybe the community on a different side of the, you know, be on the other side of the dais. I've been a speaker from the floor at City Council, County Commissioner meetings, and I said, well, maybe I'll try it. You know, and it wasn't so much as if I won that, you know, it was going to be that great of a deal. I was going to still continue to serve my community because that is really what is most important to me.
Sure. Talk about that victory, because that was a victory by the narrowest of margins, and I know that that's one that you're proud of too, but it's also one I think that serves as a great example that every vote counts.
Oh my God, when you say every vote counts, you can't even imagine. I walked many a sidewalk and neighborhood and knocked on a lot of doors, and it paid off in the form of 12 votes finally being the total for my victory. It was just a nail biter. You know, on election night, my daughter and I, we'd been at the polls all day long, you know, talking with people and shaking hands and just literally having a great time mingling with, you know, the community. And it got down to, I wouldn't even look on the screen. I just wouldn't even ever look. And I had people who were kind of looking and they were still smiling. I thought, well, everybody's smiling. Nobody's looking really sad, you know, and then it got right down to the wire. And initially it was 15 votes. And at the end of, you know, the final count, it was 12 votes, it was a dozen. I always call them my 12 disciples, you know, and I'm so thankful to those. But yeah, every vote counts, and people don't think it does. But you know, there have been races that have been down to 1 or 2 people who have voted, and that person has gotten a victory because of just those few votes. And so we can't take that for granted.
Was it, when did reality kind of sink in once you, because there was a recount and then that was when it went from 15 to 12. When did reality start sinking in that, hey, I've won this thing, now I've got to go, the real work is really beginning? Yeah,
I think really once I was sworn in. I didn't want to get myself all excited, you know, even though we had the recount and it came out, you know, that it was 12, I still was kind of just taking it all in, you know, thinking, wow, here I am, you know, a part of Greensboro City Council, a part of leadership that's gonna make decisions for, you know, our community and our city. And, you know, I was just kind of like sitting back, taking it in. But once I got sworn in, I saw my family be with me and everybody, you know, started congratulating me. I was like, okay, I'm here. And the first time somebody ever called me the Honorable Sharon Hightower, I thought, whoa. You know, I've really arrived, and you know, I still don't take it for granted. You know, I'm still very appreciative of the 12 plus all the ones who voted for me and all the citizens in my district. I'm very thankful for each and every one of them, and it is my goal to be that person that they can talk to, they can call, we can sit down and figure out solutions to our problems. You know, I want to be that person that, you know, the people in District 1 say, hey, you know, when you see me in the Burger King, as they did a few minutes ago, they can just say, listen, what's going on over at this side of town? Or I've got this problem, and I can pick up the phone and call someone at the city staff that I know directly and say, listen, you know, this particular neighbor's having this issue in their community. Can we check it out, you know? And I told the neighbor, I said, you know, I'm gonna ride by too and take a look at it and myself. So I wanna be that person. And, you know, I think that's who I'll always be. You know, this position won't turn me into a politician. I don't wanna be a politician, you know? I just wanna be a servant of the people, because ultimately this is the people's seat. And they've given me 2 years to be here. Now I hope they give me 2 more, you know, if they're pleased with me. But if it turns out that it's not for me to be in that seat again, I'm still here in this community. I'm still going to be out here on the sidewalk advocating for what should be happening in District 1. And one of the great things happening in District 1 is this Gateway Garden.
This is This is another one of those places that I call sort of a hidden jewel of the city of Greensboro. There's several throughout our community. What's it like, Sharon? Is it pressure? Is it that sense of service? What is it that you feel now being that elected representative of your district in a community that you have worked so hard to represent your whole adult life? Now suddenly you are that representative. What's that feeling?
Well, to be honest, a lot of times I don't want to let people down. I want to feel like I've given them my very best. I've done the very best I can to get them many of the things that they feel they need. I want to help create jobs, create amenities in our community, make housing, affordable and safe. And I want people to be able to say, she really did help us. And so I don't want to, let anybody down. That's the part that I think about, many times over. When I first got in office, I was all gung-ho. I was like, okay, let's solve all the problems at one time. Okay, we know we got this issue and this issue and this issue. And I began to realize, okay, Sharon, Rome wasn't built in a day. Didn't happen overnight. We've got to pace ourselves to begin to look at the things seriously that have occurred and how we can really start to break those barriers down of misconception about District 1, the people that live here, the types of amenities we have. And so as I began to dialogue, I felt it was necessary to talk to others across the city, invite them to District 1, talk about District 1, talk about the positives as well as the negatives. And we do have a lot of great positives over here. We've got Hayes Taylor Y coming in January 2015, the Women's Resource Center at Barber Park, the phase 2 of that, phase 2 of the Gateway Garden even. I mean, there's so many amenities.
University Research Park is right out here, right across the street from where we are.
Oh, I know. Yeah, absolutely. That is the most gorgeous building as you come down Lee Street now, soon to be Gateway Boulevard. It's such a beautiful amenity. A&T can be proud of it, but the neighborhood is proud of it as well. And so, yeah, we have so many great things happening over here. A lot of them are kind of quiet, but still it'll get out. We will let the word get out sooner or later. And, we want to also address some of the negatives that we have, our unemployment and our wages. We want to bring our wages up, and that's what we have to tell businesses that come to Greensboro. We have to respect our citizens, pay them a great living wage, and you'll see that our communities will vastly improve. People just want to be able to, take care of their home, take care of their family, take care of themselves.
Sharon, two topics in particular that I wanted to talk to you about, because I think these are things that are near and dear to your heart and certainly have been items that you have spent a lot of time on already as a council member. One that we'll get back to you to is our minority and women's business enterprise and sort of your focus on making sure that there's opportunities for everyone. The second one connects to something that you just talked about before of affordable housing and ensuring that we've got good housing in our community. And Heritage House has been something that you have worked on very closely and really made a commitment to try to help the folks over there. And I had the pleasure to work alongside you on that project, and it really, I think, was a humanitarian effort on the city's part. But talk, if you would, a little bit about Heritage House and the issues and kind of the work that you did to bring some resolution there.
Heritage House. I think when people first hear that name, they think of such negative. And I'm not disputing that there were things that occurred there that were not good, and there were some people there that were, maybe not the best citizens that should have been there. There were absolutely times over there that, things should have maybe have happened a different way. But for me, when I first got into office, I looked at Heritage House, and I'd heard about all the issues Heritage House was having, but you had to go over there. You couldn't just stand off and just read the police statistics. You had to actually go there and get a feel of Heritage House. And what I saw when I went there was husbands and wives, kids, people going to work, children going to school, people trying to live on a limited income, just basic human beings trying to survive every day that found themselves in a situation that took advantage of their plight. You know what I mean? And so for me, when this all came about, you know, I said, okay, fine. If we have to shut the water off because, you know, we haven't been paid, I certainly understand that from, you know, a liability standpoint for the city, but at the same time, we just can't put those people out on the street. We've got to help them find somewhere to go, be able to start their life, and continue not put them in a traumatic situation. You know what I'm saying? And so for me, working with those people, they were so sweet and wonderful. Now, trust me, when I tell you there were some folk in there,
Sure.
now, you know, I wasn't happy with.
Right.
And the landlords were many of the people I was not happy with because I believe they could have treated that place much better. And to let it go down into such disrepair, to me, was very disrespectful of people, but of real estate too. I mean, that's a real estate property, you know, that housed, I guess, well over 400 people. When you look at that, that's a whole lot of people in the city of Greensboro. That's a lot of votes. Many of them were voting citizens, taxpayers, and they deserve the respect to be treated, you know, that way. And so when we looked at that, we decided, because I told, you know, some in the housing and everything, this is what we're gonna have to do and do it this way. And I will commend city staff, the housing department, code enforcement. Donnie, you know that we had so many departments involved. Everyone that came together all seemed to have the same mission in mind, and that was to make that transition into better housing for those people as smooth as possible. And we did that. And I talked with many of those residents today, and they are so happy to be out of that place.
Everybody's kind of in a better place, it feels like, yeah.
My goodness, much better, much better. I talked to one lady, and she said, you know, you can't pay me to go back over there. She is just so thrilled to be in what she called her little house on the prairie. And, you know, that really hits home because, you know, I've always been in my home, and I've never thought about having landlords intimidate me or worrying about, you know, how I was going to make it from day to day. I've been very blessed. But just knowing that these people could just simply pay their rent, you know, I thought, wow, that's something I've been taking for granted, you know, since I've been a homeowner for like 19 years. You know, just to pay my mortgage and don't think about it, you know, just have a safe place to live. They deserve the same thing. Even though they're paying rent, they deserve safe, affordable housing. And that's what they have now, and I'm glad about that.
What do you think, Sharon, are some of the takeaways from Heritage House? If we kind of look back in history at the whole evolution of that property, what are some of the lessons to be learned, do you think?
Well, I think one of the lessons is that we have to start looking at maybe as a government getting involved sometime a little sooner. And I think we thought that some of the problems would maybe fix themselves, or, you know, but sometimes we have to step in. And when you look back at it, you know, you don't want government just to run private entity, because people do deserve the right to have their private lives. But I think if we have a good collaboration between the two, that we can look toward the future and say we can't allow this to happen again, you know, and to step in and, you know, maybe have those conversations. But if we as a city lead when people come to this community, if we are the leader in saying, when you bring jobs here, you got to pay a living wage. And when you pay a living wage, people have safe, affordable housing. And they have safe, affordable housing, they go to work, they pay their taxes, you know, they contribute to their community, they help revitalize their community, and then we educate. Now, education is the key. I found that one of the problems that was in Heritage House is that a lot of the tenants didn't know their rights. You know, they were just told, well, you know, I'm not going to fix this broken window until you pay my rent. That's not the law, and that's not how that works. And you know, if you can empower people with education, a lot of them could just simply say, okay, no, this can't happen, and I won't allow you to do this to me, and make people accountable, you know. So I think that's a lot of what we have to do.
Well, another area where it seems like you are working hard to hold the city accountable, and this is what I mentioned to you beforehand, is through our MWBE process, our Minority and Women's Business Enterprise. And I think anyone who tunes in and follows city council meetings closely will always hear you asking questions about contracts that are coming before council for approval, to ensure that goals are being met where minority and business participation is concerned. Why is that something that's so important to you, and how do you think improving in that area is going to benefit the city as a whole?
Well, one of the very reasons I know it's important is that we have so many minority businesses that say they can't get a job through the city of Greensboro. They can't get a contract. They can't do business. Well, we need to let them know that the city is open for doing business with all our citizens. And a lot of them have said, you know, they felt, you know, left out, they felt disillusioned. And so it has become very important. We did the disparity study, and with the disparity study, you know, which we needed that as our background proof that yes, we have got to implement an MWBE program, okay? And you will hear me say it repeatedly. And I know a lot of people say, well, why does she keep harping on that? You know, she's not looking at the price of the contract. Well, I'm looking at the price of the contract too, but I can't say to a person, well, it won't cost XYZ for you to do the service that you're going to do. But I can say to that contractor or that professional service that you need to reach out to those who can provide services that are in this community that are minority women business enterprise. And so you've got to do that, because if you're going to come to our city and take our money out, then you need to make sure that the people who live here, the taxpayers who help put that money in the coffers, get some of it back. And it's only fair, and it's only the right thing to do. And I'm going to continue to push that. I was at a board meeting this morning, and that was one of my questions there. You know, these contracts are in the millions, you know, and a lot of folk, you know, all they want is just a little piece of the pie. They're not saying give me the whole pie, but they're saying I'm qualified. And we've got to help educate our MWBE so that they know that they're historically underutilized businesses. We've got to help educate them as well, you know. And so it's a very important program to me. And again, I go right back to saying, if people can make a living wage and get a good pay, then they contribute to their community in various ways. I mean, housing, I can say it over and over again, you know, they shop, you know, they pay taxes, they buy cars, I mean, they send their kids to school. You know, all of that helps to make people feel whole, you know, and feel worthwhile. And we've got to support that MWBE program. And I will say for council, they have, you know, supported it. They've put up with me asking 10 zillion questions.
But I think you're seeing progress there, though.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I'm proud of the progress. We have a MWBE coordinator, and she really has her eye on this program. She's very well experienced. She has the knowledge, and I rely on her a lot of times to kind of educate me, even though I sit and read the policies and things of that nature, because I want to make sure that what we do is fair for all, you know.
Well, those are just two that I've thought about that I know you've been heavily involved in, but this has been a whirlwind council. I mean, this council has been extremely busy. What else has been, you know, an issue or an initiative or something that you feel like you've worked hard on or feel proud of so far?
Well, one of the things, I'm the chair of the East Greensboro Study Committee, and East Greensboro seems to be really the focus of new development You know, everyone talks about you've already built out north and you can't go any further past the airport, and so the east is the place to go. But yet we still seem to have trouble getting businesses to come to the east. And so with the East Greensboro Study Committee, we have sat down, there's 4 of us on that committee, and we have sat down and we've talked about some of the things we want to focus on in East Greensboro. But before we can say to people, you know, hey, bring your business here, we've got to look at some of the ills that have put East Greensboro into the situation that we're in. And so that's what we've been doing lately, and we've been having focus groups. And what we've done with the focus groups, which I find very exciting, is that we have brought in different people from across the city, from different types of occupations, from lawyers to realtors to appraisers to bankers, to the regular old business guy, Joe on the street, you know, to come in and sit down and say, listen, how would you like to see East Greensboro? You know, what do you think? Because ultimately, it's not what I think. It is what we as a whole think about what we can do to improve the area in East Greensboro. So I'm really excited about that. I look forward when the focus group gets done, we're going to have some results. We're going to have a timeline on looking at how we're going to map out our results, and we're going to improve East Greensboro. I know that without a shadow of a doubt. It takes a little while. I know a lot of people are anxious to see things done, and I am too. But I want what we do to be sustainable and long-lasting, so that in years to come we can be proud of all that we've done. But East Greensboro will be just as beautiful and have just as many things as West Greensboro. And so people won't know which way they want to go. They'll say, well, do I go to East Greensboro? Do I go to West Greensboro?
That's a good problem to have.
Yeah, where do I go? You know, I want to go to this park. I don't know if I go to this. I need to go to this Target, or I need to go, you know, to a Walgreens or wherever, or this restaurant and sit down and eat with my family. And I can go out East Wendover or East Market Street, or, you know, East Lee Street, Gateway Boulevard. And I want us to have that problem, rather than us driving around East Greensboro and saying, wow, we can't find anywhere to sit down and get a nice little dinner after church on Sunday. And so that's one of the things that I'm really focused on. And I know we'll get there, and we'll do it together.
Sharon, I appreciate so much your time. I've got one more question for you, and I'm asking all of your counterparts on council the same question, but what does it mean to be a district representative? What does it mean to be a member of Greensboro City Council?
What does it really, really mean? It means that I have an opportunity to do some things that are long-lasting in this city. It means that I would have helped make a difference in my community, in my city, and that means a lot to me. I want to be able to look and see how we're growing and the things that have happened in District 1. You know, I love District 1. I've lived here for 19 years, and I purposely moved over on the east side of Greensboro, partly in part because my daughter wanted to go to Dudley High School. But the other part is because I simply love this area. It's beautiful, it's convenient to the highways and all of that. And so as I look back on why I came here for one reason, but why I stay here because I know this is our future. And that means the world to me, to know that when I look at what is happening in and around and all the things that are happening in East Greensboro, that they're going to be long-lasting, and I'm going to have had a hand in helping to make changes here.
Sharon, job well done so far. Congratulations on the work that you're doing, and best of luck to you in the future.
Well, thank you, Donnie. I appreciate you sitting down talking with me. It's good to sit and talk about District 1. I know a lot of times at council, we don't get a chance to really, really talk about how proud we are about where we live. We know different things are coming.
Thank you, Sharon. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Donnie. Appreciate you.